This is Support is Sexy, episode 212. Are you serious about your business? Welcome to Support is Sexy. I'm your host, Elayne Fluker, entrepreneur, author, and founder of Chic Rebellion Media. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I interview inspiring women entrepreneurs who share their wins and their lessons to help you take your business and your life to the next level and create something sexy. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Support is Sexy. I'm so excited to have you here. You know, it just would not be the same without you. And that is really the truth this week. Well, it's always the truth, but it's really the truth this week. It would not be the same without you and you all, or the idea of making sure that I come prepared and deliver to you all every day, or at least 5 days a week in this past week, has really been what has kept me going. Now, I don't want to be dramatic, but it has been a very interesting and challenging week. But I kept my sense of humor about it, and I made sure that I prepared myself for the worst, but had hopes for the best. You might be wondering what the heck I'm talking about. I'm talking about my website, elaynefluker.com, going down for an entire week. Just last night, which is a week after it went down, I mean completely down, you could not access it at all. It came back or I shouldn't say came back. I had plenty of people working on it to bring it back last night. So excited about it. Glad that everything still at least looked good. But all of my content was gone. That's right. The website reset to when we first launched it. And that was back in 2016. So since that happened, all of the content that I've placed on the website in the past almost a year is gone. I have to re-put all of it in there. Now, for any of you who have a website, I know you're probably like, oh my God, I can't even imagine. This sounds crazy. And I couldn't imagine either. And it sounded crazy to me. But I tried to keep my cool all week. I depended on my developers. Thank you so much. You guys are wonderful. They worked hard on it, figured it out. Other vendors that I work with were excellent in supporting me, except for one that I'm still annoyed about, the one that hosts my server that deleted the files. But anyway, we made it through. So the site is there, but I am having to reload all of that content in the past year. And you might be wondering, how are you going to do that? It's been a year. How are you going to remember all that content? And the thing is, my site, or the new version of my site, launched in about March or April 2016. Support is Sexy podcast launched officially July 4th, 2016. So as of July 4th, I've been posting content 5 days a week, sometimes more, on the website at supportisSexypodcast.com, which goes to my main website. So 200 something episodes, 200 something pieces of content related to that, in addition to all the other kinds of content I had on there, is gone. So going back to the question that you might have, how are you going to do that? Here's the thing why the devil is a liar. I had backups of all of that information. I didn't have backups of the files on my website, but I'm working on that now. We're going to make that happen. No exceptions. This won't happen to me in this way again. It was a technical glitch. Technology is the one thing that'll disappoint you. Whether you believe it or not, there will come a day when your technology just won't work as it's supposed to, right? It's imperfect, like humans. We're all imperfect. Things happen. I can say now that I've come down off that tense high. But thank goodness I have backups on my computer, backups on a hard drive. I make sure every Friday, 6 p.m., I do a backup of all of my content onto a hard drive just so I have it there. I have backup in the cloud on different services. So all that to say, it's going to be all right. It's going to take me some time to do this, but I have a plan of how many posts I'm going to do a day, getting things back up, especially the most recent stuff, because as you all know, I like to send you to supportisSexypodcast.com so you can see more information about these women and make sure that you get links to all the resources that are there. That was the thing. I didn't want to cry, but I was quite upset that the possibility that I might lose all of these resources. Now, of course, I have them in each episode, but I do quite a bit of research to get all of that information from the women, get the links and all that stuff to have it available to you. But thank goodness I have backups on all of that content, and it's going to be back on the site. So we're working on it. But you can go to supportisSexypodcast.com, see the information there. Anything that is not there yet, if you happen to go today, it's coming. don't worry. In the meantime, of course, wherever you're listening to this, you can view the show notes page, which also has additional information there. Now, why did I say all that? One, to thank you for being a listener, whether this is your first time or forever, because honestly, having to do the podcast was one of the constants this week. Everything else was every other day. It was some kind of change, some kind of news of what wasn't working or what wasn't there, and a lot of waiting for hours and hours because of different time zones for people to get back. Having an online company is really fun. Honestly, it is. But there was a lot of that this past week, so thank you for being here. I appreciate you. But as you know, I'm always looking for the lesson in something. There's always a lesson, no matter how hurt you are during that time. And honestly, that's why the site went down before. I did talk about it before on the podcast. It went down before for a second, came back in a couple days, thought everything was fine. Then it went completely out. And during that time, last week, I just could not talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it on the podcast. One, because I didn't know yet how it was going to be resolved, but also because I was looking for the lesson in it. Now, y'all know I'm all about looking for a lesson. What is this moment trying to teach me? What is it saying? Which brings us to the point of this episode. I started thinking about myself, of course, but then I started thinking about all of you and asking the question, are you serious about your business? And the reason that question came up is because I started thinking about, I had to start thinking about, okay, if such is the case that all the content is gone, which unfortunately it is, if that is the case, before I knew the answer to that, what do I have access to? Where is my content? Then I started thinking about backups and different things that I use to know the links because I didn't want to have dead links out there and all these different things I can do to piece it back together and make it work. Of course, like I said, now I'll get official backups of things and we're going to work that out. But for me, it really taught me the lesson of, or made me ask the question, am I serious about my business? I just lost a year's worth of content. Now, I know I'm not the first person this has happened to, sadly. Sadly, I probably won't be the last. It happens. We don't think it will, or we think we have time to take care of it, and we don't. Take care of it now. But if I'm serious about my business, and this made me realize how serious I am about my business, especially the podcast, the information that I'm sharing, the resources that I'm sharing, the women that I'm highlighting, being in touch with you all, hopefully inspiring you all, it means a lot to me. And that was never as clear as it has been in this past week, because the idea of losing all of that information wasn't just, oh my gosh, I did so much work in the past year to do that. Of course, there's a little bit of that because I did do a lot of work on that stuff in the past year. But just this idea of losing this thing that was so important to me, that is so important to me, made me really respect my business. This is my business. This is what I want to do. This is what I am doing. This is what I'm putting out in the world as an offering to the world to say, this is what I've created. This is what I think about it. And this is how I treat my business. So if I'm in a case where I'm being lackadaisical about backing up things officially to make sure that I'm not in this position again, or to make sure that I have a plan when technology goes wrong again, because it will, but make sure you protect yourself is what I started saying to myself. You're being slack about your business. And I think I'm pretty on top of it when it comes to my business. This let me know that this is an area where I was playing it too loose. I was not taking it serious. And now I will never do that again. I take it very seriously. It means a lot to me. It is quite precious to me, although I take feedback, not precious in the way of you can't get any feedback, but precious in the way that this matters. This is of value. So for you, whether it's the business you want to start or you've already started or you've been into for many years, are you really taking care of that business? It doesn't even have to be an online or a technical company, a clothing store, a bottle company, a car company, whatever you've created, whatever you're doing, are you really taking it seriously? Or are you being casual about it and letting something slide? So within all that and thinking of all that and considering that question, are you serious about your business? I jotted down just a few things that you need to think about in order to be serious about your business. Now, this isn't a comprehensive list. It doesn't cover everything. A lot of the things I've done already. Some of the things I'm going to make sure that I do, or it's on my list to make sure that I do. Because again, I am serious about my business. And the thing is too, you have to think about the way you treat your business is how other people treat your business. So if other people see that you're slacking or you let something slide, and not that people are beating you up, as I say, no beat ups around here. But if other people see that, oh, well, it doesn't mean that much to you, why should it mean that much to me as a customer, a listener, a client, or whatever that is? You have to take your business seriously. And that also puts you in the position to be able to walk away when something doesn't work for you or for your business, whether that's partnerships or clients, customers, a certain kind of product, anything that you're considering getting into, a certain kind of project. If you're serious about your business, you will consider it in a different way. So let's get to this list. One of the things you have to make sure you do is trademark your idea or trademark your name or trademark your slogan. Make sure you have those things covered. Now, depending on your business, you might say, oh, well, I don't really need that. Listen to me. Do not get caught out there. And this isn't about thinking somebody's going to steal something. This is about so there's no confusion. I always tell people that when I send them contracts or agreements or statements of work or whatever you want to call it. I trust you. But this is so there's no confusion, because we all hear what we want to hear, or we're not listening, or we blank out, or whatever it is. I've been in that situation before too. Never again. This is so there's no confusion. So you want to cover yourself, your idea, your name, your thought, whatever you can do to protect yourself. So there's no confusion if someone else happens to come along and not know. It could be someone on the other side of the world and not know that fill in the blank business is already up and running and beautiful and doing something sexy in the world. Your trademark, your coverage, your copyright will let them know. Now, it's very expensive, or in some cases, it's expensive to go through a lawyer and that kind of thing. But there are plenty of services out there. I have worked, for example, for many years with LegalZoom. They are not a sponsor of the show, although they should be, but they are not a sponsor of the show. But they are a service that I have used for the many businesses and ideas and products and slogans and all of those things to be trademarked and covered in whatever way I needed them to be. I have done it through LegalZoom. Their team is very helpful. You can call them and ask questions. You might be unsure if this is something you need. Maybe they can help you or they can refer you. I think they actually have lawyers in-house as well. In any case, not an endorsement of LegalZoom, but definitely something that I use, trust, and that you can take a look at and see if it works for you as well. If not LegalZoom, someone. I do have an attorney who does contracts and things for me. He's fantastic. But even he has told me to go through another service instead of using him because it can be so expensive. All this is to say, there is a way. Do not get into or fall into or allow yourself to be convinced, well, I can't do it. It's too much money. So don't cheat yourself out of this. Figure out a way. Even if you're saving $5 a day until you have the amount that you need to do this thing. Put a deadline on the calendar. This is the date that I'm going to call whoever and get this done. Make sure that you get this done so you protect yourself. I did it with Support is Sexy. I did it with the slogan. I've done it with my other businesses. And it just makes you have some sense of ease that, okay, I did my part to cover it. If anything does happen, just like with technology, because sometimes things do happen, you have a way to say, this is what I've done. Let's make sure there's no confusion. Another thing about taking your business seriously. Do you have a social media account? Now, I always talk about social media, and I admit I'm a person who isn't always on it unless I go just into the groups that I'm in or just to look at something specific that someone sent to me and that kind of thing. I'm probably not the best at it. Fully admit it. In fact, I know there are people who are extraordinary at social media and building a brand on social media. But I am on social media, and more importantly, my brand is on social media. Love it or not, this is where a lot of people can find you. Don't be that person just for the sake of being contrary, doesn't want to be on social media. This doesn't mean that you have to post every day. It doesn't mean that you have to know everything and be up on the trends and all of that stuff. That's great. But maybe you can get an intern to do this for you. Or if you have children, get them to do it for you. Maybe you want to look at it before they post, but you can get support around that. Or you make it a point for you to post once a week. Sounds like a lifetime in social media world, but so what? If you do it consistently, it will help build your brand, but you have to have a presence on social media. Now, I always say, pick your platform. And many people that I know who are social media experts say, pick your platform. It might not make sense for you to be on Snapchat. For example, of course, I have my names registered on Snapchat, but I am not active on Snapchat. It doesn't make sense to me, for me right now. If someone thinks differently, please reach out to me and let me know. Elayne at elaynefluker.com. But for now, I don't feel like I have a lot of behind the scenes kind of things, which is what I would want to show on Snapchat. But there are other platforms that make sense for me. So for you, think about what makes sense for you. Is Facebook the best place? Is that where your audience is? Is Twitter the best place? Is that where your audience is? What about Pinterest? Maybe that's where your audience is, or where you want to build an audience. But give social media some thought for your business. Be serious about it and get started even before you have a product. That was a thing that I did with Support is Sexy. I had the idea, I had the quote unquote slogan or mantra. I started talking about it in 2015 because it started for me really as a mantra saying support is sexy to remind myself to get support. And the idea that having it all doesn't mean doing it all alone. That's the whole thing. Support is sexy, and having it all doesn't mean doing it all alone. So I started that in 2015 when I had no idea what it was going to be. Then it started developing into a group. Now it includes a mastermind. It also obviously became a podcast, which you're listening to. Thank you. And it is growing into so much more. A book is on the way. A lot of other things are happening that I'm so excited about. So for you, even if you haven't officially started, officially launched, you have an idea or you want whatever this is to be your brand, whether it's yourself or something else, start now. Get an account, at least have an account, and then start posting stuff or scheduling stuff. You can also pre-schedule things. I won't again endorse another service, but there's plenty of services out there that let you schedule things in advance. There is a way. Be serious about your business, have a presence so that people can find you. And that's the thing too. It's not really about you and your brand. It's about the people that you're trying to connect with. So they're likely on social media, even if not all of them. You have to make sure that you find them. And there are other ways too, whether it's direct mail or other things that you want to do. But make sure that you're out there marketing yourself, your business, your idea, so that people can find you because you're serious about your business. Another thing, and my mastermind and I just talked about this, have a vision statement. Not necessarily your business plan, although that's fantastic to have a business plan too, but your vision statement. What is your vision for your business? What are you doing? What is it about? What do you want to contribute? How do you want to connect with your audience? What makes this important to you and to the audience? What is your why? You have to make sure that you remember that. So create a vision statement, and you can look it up online. I'll have some links, of course, on the website, so you can go there. But to find out what a vision statement is and how to create one. But you want to make sure that you have a vision statement for your business. And within that vision statement, one of the things you want to make sure you outline are your goals. What are your goals for your business? You have to have concrete goals. For me, for example, with Support is Sexy podcast, one of the things that I want to make sure a milestone that I hit is 100,000 downloads by year one. Year one is July 4th, 2016. Now, there are people who have millions of downloads a month and all that stuff, and that's great. But for me, who started a podcast in my tiny home office in Brooklyn, didn't know exactly what I was doing, but gave it a try, for me to now be at 75,000 downloads, less than a year, I think that's a pretty big deal. And like I said in the beginning, none of that would be possible without you. So I truly appreciate you. But that is a concrete goal for me, not because it's just about the numbers, but because I want to have a goal in place. I have other goals that I want to do. Another thing that I want to do is expand Support is Sexy to radio, putting it out there, speak it into existence. I want to reach millions of women, support them, women entrepreneurs who are creating something sexy in the world. It will be women who change the world. As they say, the future is female, and I'm all about it. And I think for me, this is my vehicle to contribute to that mission. So I have a goal of communicating Support is Sexy, not only through the podcast, but also through radio. Now, do I know exactly how that's going to happen? No. Do I know exactly what that looks like? No. I know it's a goal. I articulate it, I speak about it, and I try to put it into play so that it can come to life. That's what you have to do. How can you make this happen? How can you move closer to this goal? But for you, in your vision statement and otherwise, you want to have a list of goals so that you can be serious about your business, so that you can know that you're serious about your business. In addition to your goals, you also want to make sure that you have deadlines, or as I like to call them, live lines. When is this going live? When is it launching? When is this going to happen? For the goal, for example, I have a date, 100,000 downloads by July 4th, 2016. I'll let you know if I get there. Share the podcast so you can help me get there. But again, that's a goal, and I have a live date that I want that to happen by. Give yourself livelines or deadlines, whatever you want to call it. Give yourself a date. Make a date. When I work with anyone, whether it's coaching, consulting, a mastermind group, it's how many by when. That's something that I learned in Momentum, a great workshop I talk about all the time. How many by when? Don't just, I'm gonna fill in the blank. You are? Great. How many and by when? When are you going to make that happen? So that's why things like 100,000 by July 4th is the way that I articulate my goals. So for you with your to-dos, whether it's something that is a day-to-day to-do or something that is, again, a bigger goal, when, by when, and how many? How many by when? That is what you want to ask yourself if you're serious. Otherwise, if you're like me, goals and to-dos and all these things can go on forever. I'm even to the point where because I'm trying to do so much, or at least to me, it feels like so much at once. Like, for example, this new project now that I have to do with getting this content back up. I'm trying to do 200 something episodes by the end of the week. How many by when? It's a lot. And I thought about maybe I can get an intern or this person or that person to help me. But because information might be missing here and there, I want to make sure I see it. But how many by when? So that is a to-do for me, but I'm giving myself a concrete goal of when this will be finished. If you're serious about what you're doing, don't let things just slag and go along forever and ever. You end up washing the dishes or doing whatever, anything that'll get you distracted from something that you really want to create. So give yourself a concrete deadline or lifeline. How many by when? Another thing, and you know I was going to talk about this, that I'm really big on, you got to have support. Because support is sexy. You know it is. Support is sexy. So support for you might be friends, might be family, but you also want to add people to your team who are mentors and coaches and partners. And I have at least what I think is a great episode about mentors. You're never too old for a mentor. I'll make sure I link to that so you can find it. But you have to be committed to making sure that you have support for your business if you're serious about it, for your business and for yourself. I just had a conversation with the lovely woman, Courtney Daniel, and we talked about how entrepreneurship can be lonely, especially if you're a solopreneur. You're trying to figure things out. You've got a lot of stuff going on in your mind. You want to talk to any and everybody about it. Any and everybody don't necessarily care about your business. So it can be lonely at times. How do you have support? Are you in a mastermind where it's all about seeing each other move forward in your business? Do you have a mentor? Do you have a coach? Do you have a partner? And these don't all have to be people that you pay to support you. You can find it through many ways. Meetups, there are a lot of things that you can do, I'm sure you know, to find the support that you need. But if you're serious about it, you have to have support. One of my goals, again, for this year is to work with a coach. I have a coach in mind. I know the amount that it's going to cost me. I'm saving up that money so that I can do it and make that investment. And it's an investment. You have to think about that. In fact, in some cases, it might be tax deductible, but talk to your accountant about that. In any case, it is an investment and you will not regret it. In fact, another thing that I just heard in an interview with Sean Croxton, whose podcast is called The Sessions, I believe, with Sean Croxton, he did an interview with Lisa Nichols, with whom, you know, I am obsessed. He did an interview with her and she talked about just how much she has invested in herself for coaches and seminars and that kind of thing. And I believe the number she said was about $600,000. Now, it might sound like an exorbitant amount, but Sean Croxton asked another question after that, which was a great follow-up question. I love a good follow-up question. He asked her how much of a return on an investment did she think she got from spending $600,000 investing in herself. Again, coaches, mentors, and all that stuff. Lisa Nichols said she estimates that it's about $32 million. Now, it's not all about the money. We always say that. Money is great, though. We always should say that, too. But think about that. She invested $600,000 and amassed $32 million as a result of things that she learned in those trainings because she was able to go out, of course, take action and do the things she needed to do. So for you, think about it as an investment, however much that is, even if it's $6, $60, $600 for an online course. I'm all about online courses. In fact, with Lisa Nichols, I'm unable to make it to the seminar that she has coming up in LA, not in LA. Where is it? It's in California. Coming up, I can't make it out there, but what I can do is buy the live streaming access, which is what I did, and I'm very excited, and it's on the calendar. So for you, there is always a way. Don't say, I don't have the money, don't have that scarcity mindset, have an abundance mindset. figure out a way for you to get support you need through content, courses, podcasts, mentors, anything that you need to move forward, to prove to yourself and to the universe that you are serious about this and you want to learn as much as you can about it. Another thing, and this sort of jumps back to what we talked about with social media, but in all of your content and all that you're creating and all that you're doing with your business, be consistent. People want to be able to depend on you. I know I've beat myself up some, even though no beat ups are allowed around here, but I had a thing about what time the podcast went up. If it didn't go up at a certain time, I would kill myself trying to make it happen. There were some things, again, whether it was technology or other things, that just didn't make that possible. So this week, for example, even though I continued to do episodes, I didn't post at the same time every day in the morning because there were things with the website and I was figuring things out. Not excuses. It just is what it is. But still committed 5 days a week, consistent 5 days a week, doing this for you, for me, for you, for all of us. So when you think about how serious you are with your business, how consistent are you with your business? When you say you're going to open the store, do you open the store? When you say you're going to deliver something, do you deliver something? Whether that's a product or that's a contract or that's a proposal or whatever it is, do you deliver even early, not just on time? Do you deliver early? Do you go above and beyond? Are you consistently willing to go above and beyond to deliver to your client, customer, or whoever you're serving? In what ways can you be consistent? And as I said, jumping back to social media, it doesn't have to be every day, but are you going to post every Monday? Or are you going to go into your group on Facebook every Monday? Or are you going to do whatever you're going to do pick the day, pick the month, whatever it is? Whatever you decide, be consistent. It holds you accountable and it lets your people know when they can expect to hear from you. Otherwise, who knows when it's going to come? And things slip, things happen again, whether it's technology or life and all of that stuff. We're not saying beat yourself up for that, but you have to be consistent so this way you can jump back in and get back on track. That's what you have to do. And that's what consistency allows. You know when you've committed to doing this, and it allows you to jump back in and get back on track and remain serious about your business. And with consistency, of course, goes commitment. Thinking back to what I said about my experience this week, this has shown me, and just even my commitment to getting 200 something pieces of content back on the site within the next few days, I am committed to this thing. I am not giving up. This is not knocking me down. Okay, it may have knocked me down. This is not keeping me down. I am committed to this. And other things have come up that weren't necessarily about the website and that kind of thing. Still, I am committed to this. Things that sometimes they might have been within my control, or some things like when I talked about the weather and the blackout and no electricity for 24 hours, that was a little bit outside of my control. Still, I am committed to this. How can I make it happen? It bothers me when it doesn't happen. So you have to make sure for you, are you committed to your business? Are you really going to do this? Because I will tell you, your commitment is the only thing that will get you through those low times. Your support network and all of that stuff. But as an entrepreneur, as a leader in a company or a business, there will be times where it'll be just you. You will have to walk alone. And to keep moving, one of the things that will help you stay afloat, stay upright, is commitment. The idea that you are committed to this thing no matter what. During the times when other people might fall away or doubt you, you have to be committed. When technology goes down or the weather or whatever, you have to be committed and figure it out. So not only consistent, but committed to seeing this through. Now, we can talk about this idea of not remaining committed to something that's not working, but you know when it's something that's not working or it's something that you're not working. Are you working it? Are you remaining committed to it? You have to work it and remain committed in order to make this thing successful. You started it for a reason. You care about this subject, topic, product, service for a reason. So you be committed to it. So I, as a customer, will commit to it. If I see the work that you're putting into it and that you're trying to make it happen and you're being honest when there are hiccups, that's another thing. If I see that, hey, I'm going to roll with that person. I really care about that person's vision for what they're doing and what they're trying to serve or give to the world. I'm going to commit to them because they seem committed to this thing. So that's another thing you want to make sure of too, if you're serious about your business. And for me, again, this past week reminded me, wow, you must be really committed to this thing, because you're not rolling in dough and the dough's not rolling in, but you are still going to make this happen. And it really showed me, I'm committed to this thing. So for you, be committed to your business. And the last thing, in light of the experiences that I've had this past week, make sure you have a contingency plan, not as an out for your business, but to make sure that, again, you are covered. So for me, I have the scheduled backups. I've been doing that since the beginning. I'm going to take it a step further and use other companies to help me back up files and that kind of thing. You want to make sure you have a contingency plan for when things go wrong. Consider it insurance. If you have to have insurance for your business, if you have an online business, there are other kinds of assurances that you need to put in place to make sure that you are covered. So have a contingency plan. When I was thinking, if things don't come back with the content, what am I going to do? Like I said, I started thinking about, well, I have it here and I have it there and I can piece this together and this will tell me the link and this will tell me that. I started putting that plan together in case the worst happened. Hopefully I didn't bring that out of the universe thinking about the worst, but you got to put a plan in place just in case. And thankfully, the structure and everything is still there. The site still looks great. I have all the other things that I need to put this back together and to make sure moving forward, I have a plan in place. So if it's a day down or whatever long amount of times when things happen, it doesn't have to be an entire week simply because we couldn't get back to it and then I don't have the information that I need to move forward. Now, I said that was the last thing, but one other thing I will tell you about being serious about your business. I believe I mentioned this in the beginning too. Keep your sense of humor. Now, this isn't to say laugh off your business, but you got to keep a sense of humor about it. Take it seriously, but don't take yourself too seriously, if that makes sense. You got to take it seriously, but you want to have fun with this too. This business, this idea, whatever you're creating, it should light you up, make you excited. I want you to feel amazing about it. Whatever you're creating, attempting, trying, doing, making happen, succeeding with, you want to feel good about it. So do have fun. I don't want this to be all doom and gloom. In fact, I waited until I was able to tell exactly how it turned out. So this absolutely is not doom and gloom. This is us saying, be prepared, be serious about your business, but have fun, enjoy it. Put these things in place, in fact, so that you can have fun and enjoy it. You feel like you've done the best you can to put these things in place, your goals, the revenue you want to generate, your deadlines for your to-dos, having your mentors, coaches, and support team. You're going to be consistent, have a contingency plan, be committed, have a vision statement. You could even put your vision statement on your wall or your vision board. You're going to be present on social media. You're going to make sure you trademark and protect the things that you need to protect. All of that you're going to do so that you can have fun. All right. So thank you all so much for listening. And thank you again for being here. You can go to supportisSexyPodcast.com. Check out what's there. I'll have the links there for you, the things I mentioned in this episode, so you can find out more information. Also, wherever you're listening, please make sure you subscribe to the podcast. It not only helps the show, but it helps me make sure that you do not miss an episode. So whether you're on iTunes or Stitcher or SoundCloud or Google Play, make sure you subscribe. So every time we have a new episode, 5 days a week here, you will not miss a thing. All right, so make sure you subscribe. Now, until next time, you know what to do. Go out there and create something sexy, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.